Yo, what's going on? It is 1 p.m. here in Crystal Lake, Illinois. It means it's time for another live stream. Today is Thursday, August 7th, 2025. I just got back from Detroit. It was almost literally a 24-hour trip. I took the early flight out on Wednesday, took the early flight returning on Thursday, and I just got back a little while ago. I had enough time to eat a little bit of lunch, fall asleep a little bit because I am tired, and now it's time for a live stream. I'm happy to see you guys. I've got a bunch of stuff to show you guys that I got from the race, and I'll tell you more about it. But first, let's hi to everyone listening on the audio-only version of the podcast. Hopefully you guys are having a good run out there today. I think we're still talking about air quality, and we still got to be careful about air quality, so hopefully it's good where you are. Today I wasn't sure if I was going to have to run on a treadmill, but I think air quality is good enough to be outside. But we'll see. It's getting hot though too. And everyone else watching this later but not live, welcome to the #1 drive time radio show for runners. That is not at drive time and is on the internet. Hopefully you guys are having a good evening, relaxing, winding down before you in that in-between time between dinner and when you get started on your nighttime routine. All right, let's see who we got here in the chat. Frank says, we don't care about the Detroit Classic, we care about the puppy. Frank wants me to show you guys the puppy. The puppy, where is the puppy? I think the puppy might be going for a walk right now. The puppy's not here. And I thought about bringing the puppy down here, but the puppy is so squirrely. She's so squirmy. I don't know. I don't know if I can get her to sit and be on camera. Yeah, but I'll bring her down sometime soon. She is a ball of energy. I think she's 10 weeks old now. We adopted a dog named Bree. My daughter's friend was, their family was fostering a dog. They were going to adopt an older beagle or like an adult beagle. And then when they went to when the dog got checked up at the vet, they were like, this dog is pregnant. And so their fostering of a dog turned into fostering of a pregnant dog and puppies. And then once that happened, my oldest daughter kept getting texts of all the different puppies and all their different names and everything like that. And I knew at that point we're going to end up getting one of these dogs because the kids are just getting bombarded by text every week. And one day, we did go over there to go see the puppies, to meet them, to kind of figure out if we wanted to adopt one of them, which one would it be? And that was fun because I don't think I've ever met 6 puppies out. Maybe once when I got Buddy, I think I did that too. But it was only the second time maybe that I've done that, met 6 puppies all at once. So that was fun. And then we had to wait a little bit for the puppies to get a bit older. And now we've adopted the dog. And it worked out because I had been looking at the local shelter and kind of keeping track on the dogs that they had and what they had available. And when my daughter told me about this puppy situation, I was like, well, I really kind of wanted to go through the local shelter, but they were fostering that dog through that same local shelter. So it all worked out. So kind of everyone wins. So that's the story with the puppy. I'll bring her down at some point, maybe once she chills out, or I don't know. But I don't want to bring her down here and then have to try to hold her for an entire live stream. She'd be way too squirmy. Yeah. So that's the story there. Sorry, I got a bug bite, and it's just really, I gotta itch it right now. Sorry, it's really uncomfortable. It just started really bothering me all of a sudden. I'm trying to think where I would have even gotten this bug. I think I've been spending a lot of time out. Because I've been walking this dog, or at least letting it outside, in the yard. So I'm outside and there's lots of mosquitoes and bugs and stuff. All right. Adrian Rousseau, if you got running shoe questions, if you guys came here to the live stream because you had running shoe questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Adrian wants to know, what do you think about the Nova Blast 5 Limited Tokyo? If you have a pair, please show. I don't have the limited. I have 2 pairs of Nova Blast 5s. The regular, the launch colorway, and then I have the Bandit collab version. So I don't have any limited editions. I know there's a Track Club edition. And then I know with the Nova Blast, they do put out a SE edition, like a special edition every year. I don't really know what the difference is between those. I don't think that I don't know if I think it's just an upper difference, but how the upper is different. If it's more plush or less plush, I'm not really sure. And I do think that one year they changed the shape of the shoe. Because remember, the Nova Blast used to be a regular shape. I think it was the Nova Blast 3. Nova Blast 3 year. It went from like this shape to more of the Nova Blast 4 shape in the heel cup and this Achilles flare thing, and the SE edition. But normally, I think in other years, it's just been the same thing. Or very similar. So I'm not really sure how the limited or special editions are different. I'm not sure. And I think with the Tokyo one, I think it's just a color pack because the World Championships are in Tokyo this year. I'm not sure. I don't know. Tell me about it. Patrick says the puppy has to go on the scale and on the spreadsheet. I mean, Patrick, you know how it is when you're weighing dogs. You have to take them to the vet because they have the bigger scale because the dogs are always wiggly, you know? So I don't know how much the dog weighs. The dog is real little. The dog kind of fits like she's not a toy, but you know, a toy dog, but she is a small dog. So she kind of fits in one hand pretty much. She's very easy to pick up. But yeah. Jeffrey Watkins says, I'm glad you're on today. I had a lot of laundry to fold and I need some entertainment. Yeah, you know what? I've kind of been like, I know right now the trend for a lot of people is to make longer YouTube videos, and my review videos have been getting longer too, but because I basically added a couple sections to all my YouTube videos. But I've also been wanting longer videos because I just, I also like to have them on in the background, or I'm watching YouTube on TV a lot more. And so I don't want to be picking stuff or scrolling through stuff like every 2 or 3 minutes. So I like longer stuff. And so I'm trying to think. There's a couple of podcasts that I think I'll watch on YouTube, but normally I'll save those for my runs because I'd rather listen to a lot of podcasts on my runs. But I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad to provide some laundry folding entertainment. And Renee says, first time I catch you live. Usually listen on podcasts on my long runs. Well, welcome. Glad to see you here. All right. Frank says the dog looks like she could trip on her ears. Yeah, she has big beagle ears. You know, like you know how when people say like, oh, that dog's gonna be big because look at the paws for puppies, and that's like a measure. Like I'm always like, I don't know. That's what puppy paws look like. Is it? I can't tell. So like, I was like looking at the dog, and I was on my phone and watching the dog. And then like an Ali Ostrander reel came up and her dogs were on. And I'm like, oh, my dog kind of looks like her dogs right now. But I don't think this dog's a beagle mix. And I don't think the other part is wiener dog. And so I'm like, I don't know. We were worried that the dog's going to get too big because we think that the dog is part hound. So I think the dog's going to be pretty vocal, which she's a little vocal now. She hasn't figured out how to howl yet. So that's good. But we're worried that I don't mind the dog being big, but my youngest daughter, I think, sometimes get intimidated by bigger dogs, and I'm hoping. So we're thinking that this dog's gonna be about beagle size, and then if she does get bigger, I figure my younger dog will have grown up with her getting bigger, so maybe she won't be intimidated. James says she's gonna be a shoe chewer. She hasn't really chewed on too many shoes yet. I don't think she's chewed on any shoes yet. She has been leaving our socks alone too, because both me and my kids were like really bad, like get inside the house, socks are off people. I don't know why we do that, but yeah. But she hasn't been going after socks. She does she's at the age. I mean, I don't know if all dogs go through this, but this dog and my old dog Buddy went through it, where Buddy went through a phase where like any kind of paper that made it anywhere near him, he loved going after it and then playing with it and making it a game to keep it away from me. And so if I put a paper towel anywhere near the floor, she'll find it. And so that's what she's into right now. Yeah. Johnny wants to know if are beagles good runners or a trail dog? I mean, they're hunters, right? They're that's what they were bred for, like chasing foxes. So, right? I don't know. But I think that's what they were for. So I think that they'd be good endurance dogs. I mean, she has kind of endless energy. But then when she does get tired, she sleeps super hard. But then, so I don't know how much running. And I'm like, well, at what age can you start pressing them on that stuff? I think it takes a while, right? Martha wants to know for the puppies, was there a distinct personality of the one you picked? And did I miss you saying how she was the chosen one? So there were 6 puppies in the litter, and we did get to meet them all and kind of try to put some personalities to names. But I'm like, I don't know. We met them when they were like 6 weeks old. So like, you could, sometimes there's some distinct stuff that you can kind of notice, but a lot of times they're just puppies and they're curious. And I left it up to the girls. And so like, after we met the dogs, we like ranked them in order. And then we gave that list to like the foster dog, the dog fosters, our family friends. And so then we ended up getting matched with our first choice of dog, which was Brie. I don't know why the girls picked that one, but they all kind of like were relatively interested in us. You know, none of them were like completely like scared, or that was the only thing I wanted to worry about. It was like, do any of them like not hanging out with us? You know. All right, AJ has some news. He says the Italian shoe brand's prices are skyrocketing. The Prodigio Pro is now $225, and he says the Diodora Gara Carbon is now $310. I don't know what the Prodigio Pro was priced at before, but the Gara Carbon, what was that? A $275 shoe, I think. I thought it was expensive at $275, but at $310, that's a lot of money. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I guess it's finally Liberation Day. All the pauses are over, right? And so now everything's going to be a lot more expensive. So that's, not great. It's going to be real bad. Sonny says, I'm going to try on the Vomero Plus later today. Might wait until tomorrow since the local store has demos we can use for a road run versus just getting a feel for a pair on the treadmill. Yeah, I would, if you could do a demo of the Vomero Plus. Is it out yet? I remember looking for it because when I started seeing it on the internet, I was like, oh, maybe I need to get those. But I don't think it was out yet. Same thing with, or maybe that was the Carbon Neck Rocket X3. Yeah, I don't know which one it was. I wonder if that one's available. Michael Tomas says Adidas Adizero Evo 2 or the Puma Velocity Nitro 4. Those are very different shoes, Michael. The Adizero Evo 2 is a racing shoe that is $500, and the Puma Velocity Nitro 4 is a daily trainer that is $140. So I would say get them both if you need a racing shoe and a daily trainer. But if you're looking for what shoe to get next, I think both of those are great options. It depends on what you need, whether you need a racing shoe or a daily trainer. Lila Lou says, what Puma shoe would you say pairs well with the Puma Mag Max, but for speed? Say the DV8 Nitro 3. Not the DV8 Nitro Elite 3. I mean, that also pairs well with it for speed. But that's a racing shoe. But from their speed work, it would be the DV8 Nitro 3. The Velocity also works. They used to have a shoe called the Liberate. I don't know if they're still making that anymore. but that was a much lower stack height to the ground shoe, almost like a track flat. I mean, not really that flat, but kind of like a track flat. So, but I don't know if that's still available. Vanessa says, we're talking about longer YouTube videos. She says, that's why I like Luke Talbot's videos. They're long enough for a treadmill workout. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like this live stream where, it's just like, I want something that is going to be agreeable, that I like. Sometimes I want to sit down and focus on something, but a lot of times I want to have something on that I'm going to like while I'm doing something else. Whether it's on the treadmill. For me, a lot of my YouTube consumption happens, like I'll have it on, but I'm filming product, and so during a lot of that B-roll stuff, filming, that's when I do it. All right. Frank says, I think that beagles were more for hunting rabbits and hares. Oh, okay. Patrick says, here's a shoe question that's not a question. Asics Metaspeed Tokyo now in US men's size 14 and 15. Bigfooters rejoice. It is? That's huge. I didn't know that. I just remember Andy, FOD runner, has always been like, I really want to try those Asics shoes, but they don't make them in size 14, so I can't. Or whatever this equivalent UK size is. So that's interesting. All right, cool. Very cool. And Luke's here. Luke says, I love the Vomero Plus. It did come out today. All right, okay. And Vanessa says that Stani Dennis has a good dog training channel. Puppies usually need to be about 9 to 12 months old to run with people regularly. Yeah, is it something about their hips or something? You don't want to put too much strain on them? I'm not sure. But yeah. Stevie76 says, what do you get when you cross a beagle with a computer? A search engine. Nope. There we go. All right. And Steven C1984 says, put him dish. There we go. Dan Johnson wants to know, what shoes was Cooper Lutkenhouse wearing when he ran that amazing 800 meters? I'm not sure. Was he wearing, I feel like it was all a Nike kit, right? But I don't know. I don't really know much when it comes to track spikes. But I do think it's very interesting that he does not have an NIL because he's 16 years old and lives in Texas. And in Texas, I believe there are NILs available for high school students. You can still compete in high school, but you have to be 17. So, which is kind of weird because it's like 17, 16, that's a weird place to draw that number. Because presumably either way, you would need to have like the parents like sign the contracts for them. I don't think tech contracts are enforceable against minors in Texas. So yeah. Yeah, I don't know why that Texas law is like that, why it's so invasive, but invasive and non-invasive. I don't know. I'm assuming it has something to do with being able to control high school football players, but I don't know. Fun fact about Cooper Lutkenhouse. All right. Let's talk about Detroit Classic. So I went out, I ran the 5,000 meters on the track. That's the longest track race I've ever done. Previously, my longest track race was the steeplechase that I did about 1 year. So that was 3,000 meters. 5,000 meters is a lot more. It was over at Wayne State's track, a nice facility there. It was pretty cool. Tommy Runs was putting it on, and there was sponsors from the Ann Arbor Running Club, like a shoe store from Ann Arbor. Nike was there, as was AG1. And so those were the three main sponsors. It was chip timed. And yeah, it was hot. It was really hot. It's been so cool the last kind of like week in the Midwest that yesterday and the day before that, it got warm again. And I was like, oh man, I'm not used to this anymore. Already, I deacclimated to the heat in like 3 days, 4 days. So it was warm, but the sun was setting. So it felt very different by the end of the race than at the beginning. I got my bib, and there's plenty of place to kind of like warm up and stuff because it was a good number of people, but we weren't filling a stadium by any means. I did get the medal for finishing the race, which is really nice. It says the distance on the back. And then you could choose to buy a t-shirt. So I bought one of the t-shirts as well. Here's the back of it, Detroit Classic. And here's the front of it. So it's got this kind of like fleur-de-lis type of logo graphic inside it too. So nice t-shirt with fun event. Got to see a lot of friends, made some new friends there. So it was a lot of fun. Running the race itself, I was just like, I don't know. I think I just want to try to run something in the 20-minute range. I did take the Takumi Sen out for this one, which was probably a little bit more cushion than I would really need on the track, but still a lot of fun to run in. I also ran to the track and back from the track for my warm-up and cool-down. So that added another, it was like 2.25 miles each way. So I did that. And I enjoyed it. I ended up running in Heat C. There's a lot of fast runners out there. And I found a nice group of people to run with. And then me and one other guy I was basically running in lane 1.5, lane 2 the entire time because I just felt like we were running the same effort. And then after like 1.5 miles, I was like, well, he's been doing a lot of work, and it was a little bit windy. Like on the home stretch, it would get gusty, and I'd been kind of hiding behind him. And after a while, I was like, I should probably take a turn as well. And so I kept trying to move over to pass for a couple of like home stretches in a row. And he kept speeding up. So like he wouldn't let me pass. I was like, all right, if he's going to do the work, I'll let him do all the work. And then we came in right underneath running 20. It was 19:48 was my watch time. I don't know if where they put maybe there's results out here somewhere where I could see what the official time was, but I don't know. Here's the thing. Is there results somewhere on this page? I'm at the heat, and I don't know where the results are. Yeah, I don't know. But I stopped my watch at 1948. So 1948, 1950, something like that. So there. That was fun. It was a really good event. Well run, pretty efficient. And then there was 2 faster heats. And that was impressive to watch. Still hot for those guys running as well. And then there was an 800-meter event at the end. They ran the men and the women at the same time, and rather than having lanes, which I think they probably had enough lanes for everyone, but I don't think anyone had set out the out cones for like the crashing in start kind of thing. And so they all ran at once. The men came in at like 2 minutes, and there was 2 women, and the winner came in at like 2:19, 2:18 or something like that. So some pretty fast runners out there. It's impressive to see. Ron Tommy says, I ran in spikes at the senior games, Adidas Ambitions. They worked well. I thought about it because I have a couple of pairs of spikes. I have a middle distance spike from Hoka, which I think would have been probably long for me. I mean, they're old. All my spikes are old. That would have probably been a long time to be in middle distance spikes. And then I have a pair of Adidas like Avantes. It's a really old spike. And that's what I did my steeplechase in. But my Achilles has been bothering me. My right side Achilles has been bothering me. And so I was like, I haven't done any track work in spikes. And so trying to run 20 minutes in spikes is probably not a good idea. And no one else was wearing spikes, not in my heat. Not in like the, 22 to 18 minute kind of range of my heat was anyone else wearing spikes. So I was like, all right, I made the right move not to run in spikes. So I felt like I'd made the smart choice. My Achilles is kind of grumpy today. So we'll see. I haven't run yet today. I'm going to run after this, but we'll see how it feels afterwards. Guys, I got to tell you, I don't know if I'm bloated or what. Maybe I need Gas X or something. I don't know. I was in Detroit, so I ate, of course, Detroit style pizza. It's one of my favorite ways to eat pizza. And I did have it for lunch, probably not the best pre-meat meal. And then after the meat, I also went back to the same place and had more pizza. And it did not sit well overnight. I woke up in the middle of the night and I've gotten heartburn before. It wasn't heartburn, and I don't know. It just feels like there's something stuck right at the bottom of my lung near my at the diaphragm kind of area, and it just was uncomfortable. And I'm still a little bit uncomfortable right now. I don't know what happened. I'm chalking it up to getting old. It's like that's what happens when you get old. You can't eat food anymore. But yeah, that's what's going on right now. Julie wants to know, was that a PR for you? How do you feel you did for the time and the heat? I feel like I did good. I feel like I ran it very conservatively. It was not a PR. I think I've ran 3 5Ks now this summer. 1 almost 5K and 2 other 5Ks now. And then I've been doing like 5K threshold workouts. And I think I ran 1 5K threshold workout where I think I ran faster than I ran on the track yesterday, or maybe we're about the same time. And so I can certainly go faster, and I could have run it harder. And when I was done, I was like, I had a good strong kick at the end, but I definitely could have run harder. But I didn't want to anytime I do anything on the track, I always go out way too excited, and then I just am miserable for the rest of the time. So I wanted to be a little bit more conservative. I ran with a 20-minute pacer for a little while before we kind of left the pacer a little bit. So I felt like I ran a smart race because it was hot. But I've also been kind of not feeling great about racing 5Ks. I've been scared of them for some reason. And so I'm just trying to do more of them, and yesterday was part of that. And I feel like now I've run one hard one. When I did the McHenry 5K, I felt like I ran that hard, and I feel like I ran that well, and I wasn't too... It was fine. It was great. I had a good time. It was like 1930 something. 38, 34? I don't know. And then I ran this one, and I definitely could have run it harder. And there was times where I was like, all right, well, this guy's not going to let me pass to switch off in terms of who's leading in our little 2-man group. I was like, maybe I should just go because I'm feeling good. But I was like, no, let's not get carried away. We're only at 2K into it, so there's still plenty of race left. And so I feel like I'm kind of, now I'm realizing it's not the end of the world if I have to race a 5K. And I'm starting to get to the point where I'm like, all right, here's where I can do things different. So I feel like in terms of what I wanted to get out of the race, I'm enjoying racing 5K speeds, and I'm starting to be able to think more during the race. Whereas previously everything was just kind of just freaking out. So I enjoyed it. Oh, okay. Cosmopolitan Michael found the official results. He says, the website says my official time is 1948.7 and 7th place in my heat. My only goal for the day was, I had many goals for the day, not blow up, run a smart race, feel good at the end, if I'm going to err on the side of effort, run a little conservative rather than run a little too crazy. But my other goal was to be the fastest Illinoisan at the meet. And for most of the time that I was looking at the entrance, I was the only person registered from Illinois. But then, at the last minute, someone else signed up from Illinois, and I was like, "Oh man, now I'm gonna have to race somebody." But we chatted before the race because he had a 3-run 2 singlet on. And I was like, "Oh, okay." He's from the Chicago area, and he was in town just for work. happened to be in town for work and was going to go run this race. I'm like, now I'm going to be the second fastest Illinoisan. But I was the fastest. I did end up beating him. So I was the fastest Illinoisan there. I don't know what the age brackets were like though. So, but I have a feeling I was not that fast for my age. I feel like in the B and the A heats, maybe not the A heat, maybe in the A heat, but in the B heat, definitely there's a lot of faster guys that I think were my age that were running really well. Yeah, Run Tommy says the Detroit style pizza is number one. Great stuff. Yeah, I just I can't resist it. So, no. Vanessa says it sounds like, as far as my uncomfortableness says, she says it sounds like a fart got stuck or too much dairy. It feels like a burp needs to come out. Not so much a fart, but it feels like it's a burp that needs to come out of here somewhere. I did have a Sprite for breakfast, thinking that hopefully the bubbles would help. And then also I brought it, like it was a screw top bottle, and so I finished it on the airplane, and I was hoping that the altitude and then some bubbles would help. I got some good burps out, but it didn't completely solve it. I don't know. Luke says, with how fast shoes have become and how bad my legs feel after wearing spikes, I'm not sure you could pay me to race in spikes. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, people wear spikes obviously for the 800, for the Elite 800 or the Sub-Elite 800 that they ran. And that made sense because they're running 60-second quarters. You know, I can't run a 60-second quarter. I can't run a 60-second. I could barely run a 60-second quarters for 100 meters. This is kind of like my sprint pace. And for that, I think I could probably wear some spikes. But yeah, I felt like 20 minutes is a long time to be wearing spikes. Yeah, I mean, I had a good time in Detroit, but it was just such a short trip. It was going to be longer. I was originally going to leave Tuesday night, so I had all day, like a little bit of Tuesday to explore, and then all Wednesday, and then come back on this Thursday flight. But my wife wanted to take my daughters. Oh, there's a burp. Sorry, guys. Hopefully you didn't hear that. I don't feel any better. It's still, I don't know. Maybe I pulled a muscle. Maybe I pulled I don't know. When I was running hard, I didn't run that hard. I didn't run hard enough to pull a muscle. I don't know what's happening. But on Tuesday night, my wife decided to take the kids to, and if you guys don't have kids, you won't know what this is. But or if you don't have younger kids anymore, you won't know what this is. But there's a concert tour. That's Descendants / Zombies, the Disney movies, like concert tour. And so there was a show in Milwaukee that my wife took the girls to. And we were nervous because we were like, what do we do with the dog now? We forgot. I mean, we didn't forget. We're like, oh, we have a dog now, so we got to worry about that kind of thing. And so we were going to see if someone could dog sit, because I don't think for as long as my wife was going to be gone, she would have been gone like 8-9 hours, that the puppy would have needed to have been like let out and stuff. And so we were wondering what to do. We were going to ask the neighbors, but I was like, I'll just stay home. I don't have any like events planned in Detroit, that I was going to be doing other than the race itself. And so I had an evening with the puppy by myself. That was fun. She is when she does get tired, she is a good snuggle buddy. She does like to lay down on the couch. But yeah, so that's why I ended up short. And here's the other thing that I was going to still try and do, even though I was only in Detroit for a short time. I was like, well, I had done an event with Gazelle Sports and at TRE one time with Tommy. And I was like, but I've never been to an actual store. So maybe I'll see if there is one in Detroit. And there isn't one in Detroit. And the nearest one was kind of far. So I was like, I don't want to have to like get in an Uber and go somewhere like that. I was hoping, or I didn't want to get in like a very long Uber ride. If it was a short one, I would have done it, but unless maybe I missed it. I don't know, but it seemed like there wasn't one nearby. And I was like, I thought they were all over, but I guess not. So. Steven C. 1984 says, do you have any plans to race your eldest daughter? Well, I was thinking about trying to hop into an all-comers track meet. Because in this area, there are like a handful of them that happen. I think there's usually one down in like Naperville or wherever College of DuPage is. I think that's a Division II school, I think. And I think that's what it is. But there's a good Division II school in the area, in the west suburbs, and that school usually, I don't know if it's the school or the track team or what organization it is that's doing it, but they usually put on a track meet in the summer. I was going to try and do that with her, but we just never got around to it this year. And then I was thinking like, well, the girls that raced, or the women that raced yesterday, they the winner came in at like 219, and the second place came in a little bit after that, like high 220s. I was like, my daughter's not in PR shape right now because she's in an off season, but I was like, oh, well, maybe one year she can come here and race that. I don't know if how that would affect her, because there's $250 on the line. And I guess as long as she doesn't take any money and win, how that would affect her high school eligibility, I'm not sure how any of that works anymore. Or it just might be fun to do an event with her. But I don't know. She wants to race me for sure. I want to keep the distance high because that's where I have an advantage. She wants to keep the distance on the race on the track because that's where she has the advantage. But she loves telling people that she's faster than me now. And she's right. Michael Tomas says, aside from feeling more comfortable with the 5K distances, do you have any other running goals that you're excited about? I mean, I'm excited to go run Sydney. That's I leave in like less than 3 weeks now. And then, the burps they're happening. And then after that, my next race after that will be Valencia. And so I'd like to try and run fast there. Training will be interrupted substantially because World Championships is during the next the training block there, but I'm going to just treat it as kind of like a long recovery after Sydney, and then it'll only be like 5 or 6 weeks of training to get to sharpen for Valencia. But I've also been training since, I've only had like a couple of down weeks since like January, really. So I've been running a lot. I just need to sharpen to make another PR attempt. But I don't know. I really think that the PR days are behind me. Martha says, I haven't done a 5K in a long time when I did the recent 4-mile race. I used to do only 5Ks, but doing marathons made 5K scary to me too. Still PR'd the 5K on the 4-miler to my shock, even being downhill. Nice. Good work. Andrew says 5Ks are too intense for me. I'll take a half any day. Yeah, that's kind of how I am too. But I will say though, running 5,000 meters on the track, that's my first time doing it. It's very different than running a 5K on the roads. It feels a little bit longer. Like when I run a 5K, it feels like the first half mile I'm blacked out and I'm trying not to go too hard. And then the mile hits and I'm like, oh boy, still 2 miles left. And then like the next thing you know, it's like, 2 miles. Now there's only 1 mile left. Let's go. And that part is kind of dreadful because you're like, I don't know if I could do this for another mile. But then before you know it, it's like 2.5 miles. So it kind of ends quick. The 5,000 meters, we hit 2K and I was like, I have 3,000 more meters to go. I'm like, how many laps is that? So I was just doing math and all that stuff. And there was a lot of energy, a lot of people cheering. And so every lap which is nice. Every lap you get to see everyone. So that was nice, but like it just felt a lot longer in a lot of ways. I guess maybe if I did more reps on a track, like if I did 800s or kilometer repeats on the track, I feel like maybe that wouldn't be as much of a problem to race a 5,000 meter. But also for me, I'm like, if I have to go around more than once, I'm doing this workout on the road. There's no way. So I don't know. Martha says, about racing your daughter, you need to age grade. She should be taught about the importance and value of age grading ASAP. How many seconds do you think I should get if we're both running in 800 meters? I wonder what that's like. I forget who I was talking to about this, but I was explaining we went to a bunch of family reunion. Well, we went to one family reunion on my wife's side, and then I was with my sister's family, and then my wife's godfather. They had their 50th wedding anniversary party last week. And so I've seen a lot of family recently. And so I was telling someone, they're like, we're talking about track speeds. And I was like, well, you know those guys that run the mile? If I were to race them in a mile, do you know how much of a head start I would need? And it's not really about age grading. It's more about like normal human versus professional human, runner human grading. But I was like, I think that if a world-class miler were to race me on the track, and we were racing a mile, I would need about a 1,500 meter head start. You know what I mean? Like they would have to run all the way to the home stretch, and I might be able to beat them in a 100 meter sprint. I mean, that's how fast they're going, right? Yeah, that's how fast they're going. And they were like, no way. I'm like, not pretty much. I'm not a great sprinter, but I am fit. I do run regularly. So I'm like, that's what it is for like a normal human versus a professional runner. That's the difference in speed. Martha says, though, but you know what? There are charts for age grading, so find one online for your daughter's age. All right, maybe we'll do that. I feel like we're at the ends of the bell curve, though. We'll see. Let's see if we can look that up right now. Age grading 800 meters. Then there's gender as well. But all right. Here's a website called Run Bundle. First, you have to pick male or female, and then how old is she? 13, female. And track 800 meters. And then her time is, what is it? 23 or something like that? Oh, that's just telling me of it compared to her rest of her peers where she is. I don't understand what this is. I don't know. I'll have to figure it out. I'll look at it again later. All right, Calvin says, for Sydney, the weather looks pretty decent for running. Next week highs of mid 60s Fahrenheit and lows of high 40s and 50s. That sounds pretty nice. If we can get a little bit lower, that's kind of in my favorite temperatures for running, but ooh, I'm excited about that. Paul Public says, for age grading, in our provincial cross-country league, the 40 age category women and the under 15 boys both do 4 kilometers and run in the same event. Okay. So there probably is not a lot of, maybe there isn't a lot of age difference. But yeah, there's no way I'm running like a 2:30, 800. Frank wants to know, I do 800s on the road. Yeah, I guess if I really wanted to do a Yasso, I would do it on the track. But like if I'm doing repeats, yeah, I'll do 800 meters. I'd rather do that on a road. I mean, I don't. When I was doing the Runna program, they would have me doing a lot of stuff with like 400s and 600s and stuff, and 800s and thousands and 1200s. But for me, I usually just do. Well, I do most of my workouts by time, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 6 minutes at a time. And so the 3 minutes usually translates to about 800 meters if I do 300-meter repeats. A little bit less than 800 meters. So yeah. All right, now I gotta check my age grade. Yeah, I think this website I'm using is not what I'm looking for. All right, here's a section on it called equivalent performances. Let's pull this up. Let me show this. I'll have you guys look at it too. So this is an age grading calculator on the website called Run Bundle, and some equivalent performances for a 13-year-old doing a 220. What did I put in there? 228. For the 5,000, it'd have to be 1834. Or a 521 mile. I'd like to say that I'm in 1834 shape under ideal conditions, but I don't think I am. But I think I could run a 40-minute 10,000 or 10K. Oh, here's what's interesting though. What's this? This is really weird. Popular track distances. It says the equivalent track 10,000 meters is 40 minutes, but the 10K is 37. That's weird. I don't understand that. But, yeah. But if we're going by the road, yeah, so she's definitely, she's faster than me. The half marathon time would be 123. The marathon time would be 249. Yeah, so she's fast. Does that make sense? Am I looking at that right, guys? Maybe I didn't make that big enough for you. And it says, everyone says, no, I need to do my age grade. Richard Wilson and Martha say that. All right, let's put in mine. Her age grading percentage is 88.46. I guess we'll do it again. Go backwards. And let me show it to you guys. Sorry. Choose a road distance of, well, we could just do 5,000 meters. I had the 5,000 meters of 1948. And I'm a man, age 40. How old am I? When do I turn 46? What year is 2025? Yeah, I'm still 45 now. And my age grading is 68%. Yeah, see? Not great. It would predict my 800 meters at 241, 242. I could see that. I think that's actually probably right. That's probably it. Look at all these freaking ads. The internet is so gross sometimes. Just so many ads, so many pop-ups. Let's see what it thinks it thinks my marathon would be 310. That's kind of where I'm at right now. What's the BQ for my age? Let's look that up. Boston qualifier times. Because I was thinking for Sydney, I think that I'd love to be able to notch a BQ. And at let's make this a little bigger. For 45 to 49-year-old men, that'd be 3 hours and 15 minutes. So I'd like to I think running a 3:15 would be. And I feel like I'd be happy with that on the Sydney course because it's going to be a little harder. And but that calculator we just looked at says I can run a 3:11, maybe. I don't know. Predictors are always a little bit wrong. Calvin says that the Marathon Handbook website ages you at 71% and a marathon prediction of 3:07. And Paul says, yeah, not sure you can compare your daughter's 800 meter age grade to your 5K age grade. Yeah. I'm pretty sure I was using that website wrong. Yeah. Terry says you should put all these figures in a spreadsheet. Richard Wilson says, look up the percentage. She's what, 88%? Yeah. So let's go back. Oh, I have to resubmit the form. Okay, calculate. All right, let me pull that sheet up again. So for the percentage, 88%. Yeah, I'd have to run much faster than 1850. Yeah, I still don't think I'm using this website right. I have no idea. Melvin Eumangs here, he says, yo, what's going on, CoFam? 1 month post my first backyard ultra experience, ran 21 yards or 87.5 miles. Good enough for 8th out of 75 place. Now in week 4 of my Toronto 26.2 block. Well, congratulations. That's a lot. That's a lot of yards. It's very impressive. And you get ready for Toronto. That's going to feel nice and easy. Nice and short in relation. Shannon says, too bad Tim Gross isn't in the stream. Maybe he could do an analysis with spreadsheets for Co's race predictions. I've done those videos before, and basically everything's kind of like somewhere above what I would think I could do, somewhere below. I'm usually somewhere in the middle to more aggressive in the way that I predicted. I don't know. And Cosmic Pineapple Michael says, if you sign up to run a park run with your daughter, the results automatically include an age grade based on age and gender. Oh, okay. There we go. And Frank says, what Tim Gross needs to know about is the big meta speeds. Didn't he review those already? I think he did. He made a review video when he tried to chart his like cadence versus stride runner thing. I didn't watch the whole thing, but I was like, and I think he misunderstands how it works. But I also feel like the math is kind of flawed the way that ASICS presents it. Makes it hard, and so I don't know. Sometimes I feel like Tim is very smart, and sometimes I feel like he goes out of his way to make it appear like he doesn't understand something. Tony Brinkman says, Garmin had me predicted for a 22:35K on Saturday, and I ran a 21:05. I do usually outperform the predictions due to me doing lots of easy miles in training. Yeah, I feel like there was one, like, I do think that a lot of the prediction models do not like it if your easy miles are actually easy. Or there's some sort of like assumptions built into it where it's like it doesn't think that, like, I don't know if it's as easy as like take average easy run time and then subtract a certain amount of time or minutes per mile to get to 5K race pace. Like, I don't know if it's just that basic. But I do think that if you run a lot of very easy miles, then the predictors are generally way off. They're very conservative. Martha just checked her age grade for the 4-mile race she did and gave a percentage of 1.47% instead of 80 plus or whatever. Anyone know what that means? I don't know what that means. Alex says, I have fun seeing which predictor is closest between Garmin, Coros, and Strava. Strava seems to be the closest. Because, like, at one point, did Strava buy, there was something called, like, Meta something? I forget what it was, but there used to be this Strava plugin back when their API was much more open, where the prediction was basically it takes your number of miles run in like the last 4 weeks and the amount of time that you run it. And based on just those two numbers, maybe an age as well. But basically just those two numbers, based on that, it predicts your marathon time. And that I feel like is also pretty accurate, because then it takes into account, like, if you're doing a lot of very easy running and you're getting ready for a race, there should be a lot of very fast running as well. I thought that at one point it shut down because Strava had bought it. So I don't know if they're using that data as part of its algorithm, but I don't know. I'm not sure how a lot of these work. I typically go by the way that I do it is I will I use my long runs. And so I feel like if I can do like a 16-mile run or longer and hold 10 miles of that at what feels like marathon effort, whatever that pace ends up being is my marathon pace. Or if I do like a 3 or a 4 times 5K in a long run at marathon effort, whatever that pace ends up being is what I think is. So I just feel like I think I know what marathon effort is. And then the pace is whatever the pace is. That's really not a very like repeatable or scalable way of doing it, I guess. The other is, Yassos I think are not a great way, but they are a way of doing some predictions. Oh, Metathon, that's right. Richard Wilson. It was Metathon. That's it. And Alex says, right now I think the Stravas may be runner predictions after they merged. It could be. I'm not sure. Frank says, the Discorders who are doing Chicago would like to use a Kavuzi Dragon for a flag for a cheering section. Yeah, somebody email me and I'll drop it in the Discord. Or do you guys have it already? I don't know. I'll give you the graphic that I have. I think that'd be awesome. You have to let me know where you guys are. Adrian Rosso says, I'm 43 now. My 5K PB is 21:39. Training for a sub 20 in week 7 of 13. I'm going to try in September. Started running a year and a half ago. Yeah, I think 139 is a lot. But depending on how much, if you've only been running a year and a half, I feel like there's probably a lot of room in there for improvement. So good luck to you, Adrian. You'll have to let us know how it goes. All right. I got to get going. Hopefully I'm not late. I think my wife already went to go pick up my other daughter. My younger daughter is doing band camp. So I think I got to go. Hopefully I'm not late, but I'm pretty sure I will see you guys Monday. I can't think of any reason why I wouldn't be here. So in the meantime, if the air quality is bad, stay inside, guys. Take it easy out there. Be safe. It's going to be real hot in the Midwest, so stay cool out there as well. And I will see you guys Monday. Thanks.